Hey everybody, welcome back to Channel Talks. Today I'm very excited. I've just had an incredible conversation with Alex Whitford and Scott Frew on the Partnership Unraveled podcast. And what I wanted to do was delve into some extended information that I know will help our audience around channel, not only channel programs, but actually the cost of acquisition of a customer versus the cost of churn of a customer. So the whole thing will come together when we present it. For those who don't know Alex is the VP of Revenue at ChannelTalks, knows what it means to actually create dollars and add value to a customer. And Scott Frew, of course, is my longtime business partner, business wife, and the founder of iasset.com. Welcome, gentlemen, to Channel Talks. In our conversation, one of the things that we talked about was the acquisition of a customer, the cost of acquisition, and in particular, because technology is now being replaced through innovation at a rapid pace. The technology is one thing, but the cost of acquiring a customer to be able to take on that technology is another. What we understand at iasset is the cost of churn is even higher. Alex, your platform allows customers to understand and know at a very extensive level what that customer actually needs based on the data that is available to you. Explain what you do.
Sure. So at ChannelTalks, we try and solve one key problem, which is informing the end customer about information is really complicated and, more importantly, really slow. So, for example, you want to release a new piece of technology. I'm going to pick an iPhone because everyone's aware of it. Apple want to release the new iPhone. Getting partners to take the information around the new iPhone to their customers takes ages. We've got to educate a distributor who's got to educate the partners. Everything's under NDA. And then on day of release, actually consumers are getting the information faster than partners are getting the information, and it's a mess. And so instead, what we do is we create a connection between a vendor through a distributor, through partners directly to the end users via marketing channels. What that allows you to do is communicate directly through your partners to their customers to inform them around your technology. Now, that information can be around new product, that information can be around maintenance, that can be around critical information about alliances, integrations, whatever information is most prudent to drive retention and expansion of that customer. Now, fundamentally, business is built on lifetime value. How often can we continue to sell more product to the same end user? And the better we do that over time, the faster we're able to grow, because we can overinvest in customer acquisition. Getting that balance between lifetime value and customer acquisition cost correct allows us to scale businesses very, very successfully. Is why businesses today are all subscription businesses, why the most valuable businesses in the world are based on our ability to continue to sell and resell to that same end user. But the way to do that most prudently through the channel is to communicate directly with the end customer with the support of your partner.
Okay, so that is a whole bunch of very prudent, what they call secondary data. All right. Scott, how does that secondary data inform what iasset does?
Look, I think, Nick, especially from a campaigns point of view, if you're going to create opportunities out there in the globe, one of the things that campaigns has the ability to do is to communicate the information that Alex is talking about, but underpin that with an actual quote or an action to buy or a click to pay or click to order, whatever it is. So that's where we would sit within that context. I've got a question for Alex, though. I just had a thought while he was talking about CAC and total customer value. Have you ever tried to do that at a reseller level from a vendor's point of view? You know, what's a reseller onboarding cost versus total value over the reseller's life cycle?
Correct. So we talk about partner lifetime value. That really is important, because lifetime value is important directly, but partner lifetime value for a channel partner is actually significantly more important, right? And so one of the things that we evangelize is there are three main levers that you can pull as a channel business: product, program, personnel. Product is table stakes. Is your product good enough? But then what creates the separation between a good channel business and a great channel business is the other two. So what are we doing programmatically to drive success? And what are we doing from a hiring and a culture and having the right feet on the street? The programmatic piece is, how do you drive partner lifetime value? How effectively are you enabling and incentivizing your partners to be successful? And that means, can they acquire new logos? Can they upsell those existing logos? And can they ensure from a partner's perspective that LTV is super successful? But partner lifetime value, that's your goal. Because if I get my partner lifetime value correct, they will acquire new logos because they care about their own lifetime value, right? And so there is a secondary effect. And so for me, building a program that allows you to solve two key problems, or three key problems, which is, does a partner understand who they need to sell to? Do they understand how much money they are going to make? And the third bit that's the most important, how easy is it to be successful? That's it. Get those three things correct, and you will drive partner lifetime value through the roof. But that, how easy is it to be successful? That is what every cybersecurity brand under the sun has gone, perfect. We understand this is about operational, it's about automated billing. Yep, makes sense. But what about everything else? What about how easy is it to quote? What about how easy is it to sell? Because, hey, selling Apple is really easy because they have the best brand in the world. Okay, you can't have the best brand in the world, but what are you doing to reinforce the proposition through sales automation, through marketing automation, to make it very easy to be successful with your brand? If you get that right, partner lifetime value goes up, and therefore total lifetime value goes up.
Okay, so that's impossible to argue. Right.
I'm glad.
It is. No, it is. But Scott, here's one for you. Listening to what Alex is talking about, it's like it's music to our ears. All right. And it creates the urgency. All right. But as far as I'm concerned, partner lifetime value has to be monetized. It just has to. Otherwise, what am I doing? All right. And that monetization comes from an elimination of churn, which helps the vendor as well as yourself, an ability to present value, which is exactly what Alex has, eloquently explained, giving that partner revenue predictability, and also the vendor revenue predictability, because they have to provide guidance and minimize the cost of customer acquisition, right? That's really what we're talking about when we're talking about the most important elements of partner lifetime value that we experience.
Yep.
How do you do that?
Well, so if you look in the context of one of our manufacturers, when they did their research, and this is some time ago, for every dollar that was spent on net new, they could get $22 of addressable follow-on life cycle renewals, refresh, new modules, whatever it is. And I think if you look at, again, Distribution Central, which was an actual sort of distributor that used the technology, we walked into the budgeting year every year pretty much with 50% of the budget done, because we knew every piece of data that was flowing through the system. We knew all the renewal rates for all vendors for everything that we did, so that we knew that that was locked away. And again, we only had to focus on net new. I'm now getting some of our reseller level partners to really grasp that process, which is, over time, if you sell 100 things, next year there's 100 to renew, then the next year there's 200 to renew, etc., and it goes on. And that focus is starting to shift from the net new logos to, actually, we've got this pool of customers who should actually be worth more than our net new business. And there's two of the security companies this year have realized that the refresh opportunity for this year and next is bigger than their total net new sales budgets anyway. So, really what I'm trying to get the resellers to understand, or the partners to understand, is that the value that's in the data flows that's flowing through their systems is incredible. And if all of the hardware vendors are roughly 60-70% renewal rates, as an example, there's a lot of missing money that the resellers are missing out on because they're relying on upstream partners. They need to plug all of those gaps. And if they do that, they'll build dependency not only with the vendor, because the vendor's getting higher retention rates, but also with their customer.
So I'm looking at this from what Alex has told me, what you've told me, that I can create the opportunity based on data and then deliver on the opportunity and consume the opportunity based on data as well.
Yeah.
And then keep doing that, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
Why, Alex, is that not happening already everywhere?
Because we've delegated the responsibility to third parties who don't have our own priority.
Right. Absolutely.
Simple. Right?
Nailed.
Which is
Nailed.
we've said, I hope that Dave in London and Josh in Sydney and Mike in New York, I hope.
Spiro in Greece.
Yeah, there we go. That I hope that they are going to do this, but they all have mortgages to pay. They all have their own priorities. You are not, and this is the real shocking, painful bit to hear. You aren't their top brand even, right? There's only one top brand, and it usually is the same brand, right? All over the world for every MSP and every reseller. It's going to be it's a Microsoft. It's going to be it's an AWS, right? There are top brands that matter, and everyone else is pulled with those brands. And so it's really simple, which is make it easy for the customer to understand why you are a valuable tool and make it easy to buy. And then when you go to the partner, make it really easy for the partner to facilitate the demand that you have helped create. If you get those two pieces working cohesively, Dave in London and Mike and Josh and all the reps across the world. So I care about the balance between how much money I make, which is obviously important, but they also sell what's easiest. And guess what? If you get the easy component correct, the requirement to make the most value on an individual deal goes down. i.e., if you make high revenue, making high margin is less important. If you make low revenue, high margin becomes extremely important. But the way to streamline that whole piece, make it easy to buy, make it easy to sell. And you do that by one, making the operational process to quote easy, and two, turn demand up. If demand goes up, everything gets easier.
Yep. And price, I always say, Alex, price is only an issue when all things are equal. So you're trying to make it as unequal as you possibly can.
Correct. Go on, Nick.
Okay, you two geniuses, riddle me this. Alex, you've explained very eloquently mass customization of message. Scott, you've explained mass customization of transaction. How do we get to mass customization of education, mass customization of awareness, of logical awareness? How do we get to that? Because otherwise it's futile.
So to me, I think the real challenge in the channel is there are two functions of the channel. The first function is teaching partners how to service customers. That is education to the partner. Do they understand your technology? Do they understand why your technology is important? Do they understand how to manage it, deploy it, customize it? All of those pieces. That is one part of your program. The second is educating the end user. That is a completely separate function. And if you treat the second function the same way you treat the first function, you will never hit the scale that you need. i.e., I do not want to educate a distributor, to educate a partner, to educate an end user, because that doesn't make sense. What I want to do is educate the partner almost directly on how to manage and deploy and service our product. Fine. And then I want to educate the end user on why they should buy it. Those two things then work in a push-pull motion, and the whole thing works really, really quickly. The problem is, broadly, the channel works the same way it did in 1991, which is I'm going to just educate some people. We're going to do some lunch and learns. We're going to order some Dominoes. Hey, isn't this fun? And then hopefully they're going to go and speak to some customers. That's why everyone's focused on new logo rather than lifetime value. It's why they're not focused on upsell, because it's easy to talk about new customer acquisition and it's hard to facilitate upsells. So instead, talk to the end user, leverage marketing, because that's the only way you can hyperscale, and then build the operational infrastructure to make it easy to sell.
Yeah, well, Scott, tell me something. I mean, what Alex is talking about, of course, is so important. But you've got an end customer world that is addressed by a partner world, all right, and that partner world needs to provide value to them. They have forgotten how to provide value to them because they're confused by multiple messages from vendors. Correct?
Yeah.
So how do you simplify that so that they can continue to provide value? Because we can't ignore them, because partners have a transactional relationship with every end customer. They have the pot of gold. They just need to know how to work it. What's your advice there?
I think, to Alex's 91 comment, I think one of the challenges that the resellers have by and large is when a behemoth manufacturer comes in and says, we want you to sell more whatever, routers, switches, whatever, the resellers, sales and engineering teams lose sight of the fact that they're there to solve a problem for a customer.
Right.
The technology behind it's irrelevant. You've got to get the problem solved, and then you put the plumbing in behind it. And the plumbing may be those routers or switches or storage or whatever it is, but actually there may be better solutions for the customer. And that's where the conflict happens, because if you get a behemoth manufacturer come in and sit on you and you're not hitting your gold status or your platinum status, which is just their focus on the resellers' numbers, because the reseller's struggling with delivering those solutions out to the customers, that's where I think the clash happens. And the dependency that you talk about with the end user should sit more with the trusted advisor role, and will translate the product technology to your particular environment, rather than just the reseller rep going in and saying, well, here's a whole bunch of new switch technology.
Yeah, well, that's going back from being a transactional advisor to a trusted advisor.
Yeah.
Both need to go hand in hand, but you need information to do that, and the information, they've already given it to you.
To be fair, though, the difference between 1991 and now is, to Jay's point about all the different pools of data that are sitting around that end customers might go and evaluate. You've still got to pull all those different technologies and manufacturers' products together and give them a quote or a contract or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, and then manage the life cycles of all of that ad infinitum to end up with your massive TCV.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Alex, do you want to add anything to that before I conclude?
No, I think the bit that Scott's just correct on, which is, I think the fundamental shift between having an understanding of why our product is good from manufacturer one, and then just hoping that a partner is going to pull that into a solution orientated outcome sell, is just a huge leap of faith. That if you then expand that across 100,000 partners globally, you go, well, that leap of faith doesn't make sense, because maybe 5% optimistically of partners know how to make that jump. And so again, it comes back to make this easy to sell. And so it means, well, do some of the work for them, right? Let's provide sales messaging around outcomes, not around products. So every time I go onto a manufacturer's website and they've got an FAQ sheet, it's, here's why our product is good. Look how shiny. It is not why, hey, have you heard about the rise of AI cybersecurity attacks? You should be worried about that. Yep. Oh, well, that's a message that an end user can understand and push back to the partner to say, hey, I'm concerned about this AI cyber attacks. What can you do? And you go, oh, we can solve that. I just need you to put you into gold package 1. No vendor was communicated. Yeah. None. Just pricing. Because if you get the pull of demand correct, we don't need to talk about products. The example I always use is, I buy every Apple product under the sun. I don't know how many megapixels they've got. I don't know how much RAM it has, because I just buy the brand that I trust, because there is a trusted advisor relationship there. We have trusted advisors in every region globally. Now, all we have to do is help them be successful.
Yeah, you buy a product that provides value to you, that makes sense to you. It doesn't really matter what it is, and you'll stick with it. To your point, you will stick with it if it keeps adding, providing that value, and you will only shop when it doesn't. All right, when you hit a roadblock. And this is where it's really important that we all understand, especially what both of you provide to the channel, and that is a vendor could hope that their channel execute on their behalf, or they could put a gun to their head with a channel program that sticks, gets them to, I can only make money if I actually do everything you do, all right, and execute on what you want me to do, and it takes me out of several markets. All right, that is a political situation in the channel that no one wants to address at the moment. However, it can be addressed through clever SaaS that the vendors can't keep up with it, so they have to become part of it. And clever SaaS operating together will execute a platform for the channel. All right, as long as they all are to Jay's model, Jay McBain, all our friends' model, integrated so that they can deliver. That's my conclusion. I'm sticking to it, and you've informed it, so you can't argue with me, either of you. I want to do something very cheeky, Alex, because you asked me to do that on your program, Partnerships Unraveled. I'm a fan of Partnerships Unraveled. I am amazed that we actually interview the same people in different perspectives. I am going to ask you the same question you asked me. Who should I interview next?
Oh, I wish you'd prepped me.
No way. That's bad.
Who should you have on next? Oh, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So a guy that I think has a really unique viewpoint on, I haven't asked him, so I'm just going to shout him out. But someone who's come from distributor to vendor, dominated in the vendor space, and now has made his way back to exclusive networks is Jason Beal, who runs North American channels for
one of my best friends on the world.
Yeah.
You've already covered that. I think I might. I mean, Jason's a rock star. I should interview Rick.
You should interview Rick. There we go. I'm more than happy to. That's really easy. He's sat about 3 meters away from me, so that's really easy to make happen. So yes, I can definitely shout out my boss Rick. Spent years running an agency. He's built, I think, the best marketing automation tool that the channel has, and fundamentally is obsessed with one thing, which is providing partner value. I think that's the crux of what Chanex is trying to solve. Is vendor success is an outcome of partner lifetime value, and partner lifetime value is best built, or channel success is built from the partner outwards, right? Which is, how do we make partners successful with great messaging, great technology, and then downstream of that, customers will get huge value and vendors will make a shed load of money, which is why we're all in the game. Yeah,
I agree with you. We augment the message, and it'll give our audience significant value. I'm going to do that. Yeah, mate. Alex, thank you so much, mate. Thank you for both sessions.
Really enjoyed it, Nick. Scott, thanks so much.
We're exhausted now. Thanks, Scott, again for all your wisdom and vision. See you on the next one, guys.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.